you're going to get more mobile, you're going to be healthier, and the more mobile you get, the better the positions will be in the circle. Okay, the better the positions are in the circle, the faster you're going to be able to accelerate, or the higher the rate of acceleration, and in turn you're going to be able to throw farther. So we're going to go into how to go from 130 feet to 178 feet, or maybe we could title it 30 feet to 40 feet if you're a girl, because we're going to talk about training to become a champion from a thrower's perspective, and we're going to talk about two different throwers that we worked with, that Sam specifically coaches and has coached, Liana Nave and Michael Galby, who are just absolute, like, huge. They've had huge growth patterns based off of their mindset and their ability to adapt to become a champion. And so I want to talk through with you guys the 5 areas that we sort of focus on specifically. So there's 5 key areas that everybody has to understand when it comes to throwing and throwing farther. Carter, how many areas are there? 5. Okay, so if we're thinking about 5 key areas, we're going to go into each of those specific areas, okay, and we're going to give you guys direct means of application. So the first area outside throwing that we want to look at is going to be the strength component, okay? So Peyton, what's the first of the 5? Strength, okay. And we're not ranking these in a specific order. I think it's sort of like, if you could think of, like, as weird as this is, like a pentagon. They're all going to have a pretty important impact on your training. So the first of the 5 is, Gavin, what? Strength. Okay, perfect. Now, if we think about strength, what are going to be some of the things that we look at? What are some of the things that you've done this week that are strength related? Maya? Like what? An exercise?
Rows.
How about, like, think of big compound, like a
Bench press, pull-ups.
Bench press, pull-ups, back squat, let's say. Okay, so those are 3 big things that you guys have to get good at. Bench, squat, easy, okay? Bench and squat. So if we can think about that, when Michael came in, he was probably benching 135 pounds. I don't know for sure, but likely around 135 pounds. He was probably squatting maybe, I don't know, 250 or something like that. And now this kid can clean more than he used to squat, okay? So he can bench press, and Liana, I don't know her specific numbers, but if we can look at that, how many days a week, Eli, how many days a week are you lifting?
3, 4, maybe 5.
3 to 5 days a week, okay, and Eli's almost a 60-foot shot putter going into 11th grade. So if we can think about that, Jules, what's one of the 5 areas that we should be focusing on?
Like mobility?
Yes, that is one of them. We'll get into that. But what were we just talking about? Strength. Perfect. Charlie, what are 2 exercises to focus on?
Bench press and squat.
Okay, and then how many days a week should we be doing them? What did Eli say?
5.
3 to 5. Okay, perfect. So if we're going to focus on one of those 5 areas, okay, first step is get your strength work. Okay, so I expect in a month, Parker, that you should be going to the gym 3 days a week, focusing on back squat, focusing on bench press. Okay, if we want to go from being throwing 100 feet and then getting to 140 feet. Now, if Ashley wants to go from throwing, I would assume today you're probably throwing close to 100 feet. I don't know for sure. To throwing 130, if you start squatting, let's say once or twice a week, and you're getting about 30, let's say 30 reps in each day, you could get to that point over the span of 2 to 3 years in Michael's case. And that's the other thing, is having that time horizon 2 to 3 years from now, you could be throwing, 130 to 140, if not more. Okay, so that's the first key aspect. Second one, let's go into, Jules said, what did Jules say? J-Lo, what was Jules's aspect? Okay, so mobility would be the second component. Let's say, Christian, why do you think you need mobility?
Because your body's stretching out through the throw.
Yes, and you have to be stable to hold those positions. Okay, so how long did we do mobility for this morning when we warmed up? 5 minutes, let's say maybe 10. Okay, so if we're going to be strength training, how many days a week, Justice, are we strength training? Yeah, 3 to 5, somewhere in there that fits your schedule. If you're playing another sport or something, that could go down. If you're not playing a sport, you can do 5. So let's say 3 to 5 times. So Parker, how many days a week could we do, let's say 10 minutes of mobility?
3 to 5 times.
Perfect, there we go. So this is a big factor, is like when we start to piece all of these things together, and we think back to Michael, who went from 120 to 176, or we think to Liana, who threw 30 feet and now throws 41 feet, we can start to think, okay, we got to squat twice a week. We got to bench twice a week. We got to do mobility 10 minutes a day for 4 to 5 days, okay? Or for 4 to 5 days a week. So what you guys just did, what you guys just did in here, that's mobility. Now that was a longer session, but it doesn't take that much time. And what ends up happening is you're going to get more mobile, you're going to be healthier, and the more mobile you get, the better the positions will be in the circle. Okay, the better the positions are in the circle, the faster you're going to be able to accelerate, or the higher the rate of acceleration, and in turn you're going to be able to throw farther. So how many days are we doing mobility a week? 3 to 5. How many minutes a day, maybe? Yeah, let's say I would say at least 10 minutes. Ideally, that would be 20. Abram, how many days a week are we lifting? Squats? 2. Perfect. Okay. So what are the 2? Who wants to tell me the 2 that we've covered so far?
Mobility and strength.
Perfect. Karis is killing it. Okay. So who wants to guess on the 3rd, Alex? What would be the 3rd, Peyton?
Nutrition.
Okay, nutrition. Yes. Let's save that for a little, though. Alex, give me another one, a 3rd component here. Technique. Okay, so I did want to save technique a little bit. We'll just go right into it. So if we've got strength and we have mobility, the next thing, technique, and essentially technique's going to be at the top. Okay, if we can think about technique, what's the number 1 word I've been hammering in this whole week?
Balance.
Balance. Okay, now I would assume, Coach Weeks and I will basically give you cues, and I'm assuming this is how he gave Liana cues, but I know this is also how you talk to Michael, is like back, middle, front. And if we can think about how do we get balance in the back, okay, how do we get balance in the back of the circle as we're coming around? What can we think about?
Shifting.
Yeah, shifting weight onto the left. Okay, perfect. And then we can think about having balance, and then we go to the middle. If we have balance on the right, Eli, how do we have balance on the right without falling over?
Getting in wider.
Wider out of the back could get you more balance on the right and the middle. Perfect. Alex, then give me, if we're looking at how do we get balance on the finish, where does that stem from?
Keeping upright.
Yeah, and staying essentially out of the back of the circle and the middle. And then Ryan, I want you to give me who's a technical model that we can use to build and increase our technical understanding. Ryan Krauser, man, you guys are killing this freaking quiz right now. So if we're looking at this, okay, and if we think about balance is a big goal, okay, we have the back, the middle, and the front. We have a technical model. Let's say it's Val Ullman. Let's say it's Ryan Krauser. Let's say whoever you want it to be. You can study those, okay, and there's a couple key factors. A lot of you guys want to throw farther. How many days a week was Michael throwing? 4 to 5 days a week. How many throws was he taking? Anywhere from 120 to 150 throws minimum a week. Okay, if you guys can take 100 to 120 throws every single week, you're going to be able to make progress. Okay, Charlie's going to go from throwing 30 feet to throwing 50 feet in 2 years. Guarantee you. Like that could happen. Those are things that will happen. Okay, so if we think about from a technical component, understanding the movement, how many days a week should we be throwing? 3 to 5, exactly. How many throws should we be getting every single week, Kaylee? 100 to 120 throws every single week. And then who can I pick on for the technical positions? Justin, what technical positions should we be looking at back, or where we would be starting with?
Back, middle, front.
Okay, you got it. And then give me one more technical model.
Christian Chet.
Yes, Christian, oh yes, that's good. Okay, and then on top of this, what I would say is homework is Justin's going to go home and he's going to see that Che looks at the sector as his right's about to ground, And if we can spend, instead of scroll braining and doom scrolling, okay, every single night, just take 10 minutes a day of your doom scroll time and say, okay, instead of doom scrolling, Christian, I'm going to be doing 10 minutes of watching Che. I'm going to watch 10 minutes of Val. I'm going to watch 10 minutes of Krauser competing. And then you can start to pick up these different habits. So who can we watch as a technical model?
Eric Favors.
Oh, Eric Favors. Oh, he's going to love that one. He's got to get off his right faster. Brandon, how many throws a week should you be taking?
120.
100 to 120. How many days a week, Brandon?
3 to 5.
3 to 5. Perfect. Tim, give me 2 other things outside of technique that we've talked about that are like the, I don't want to say pillars, but like, I don't know, corners maybe of this pentagon. Well, what about working out? Yeah, so strength training. Strength training's one. Mobility. So it's strength, mobility, technique. Okay, so those are the 3 big ones so far. Now, if we get into a 4th one, I like to bring in explosiveness. Okay, so if I'm thinking about explosiveness, I'm looking at immediately what is an exercise, Melanie, that we did in the weight room that you learned or that you did this week that would help you be more explosive? And explosive meaning like, yes, perfect, cleans. Jory, what else? What's another exercise maybe that could help with our explosiveness? Yes, clean, snatch. So if you guys sat there and you said, okay, you can basically lump explosiveness and strength training, strength work together. Okay, so if we take Michael, for example, again, I sort of bragged about this earlier, but as somebody who came in and was maybe cleaning 60 kilos or 130 pounds, Weeks could correct me on this. He's clean 315 now and he's in high school. Okay, he's a very normal kid outside of the fact that he's lifting 4 days a week. He's throwing 5 days a week. He does his mobility by all accounts at the end of his workouts, okay, and he has a good technical understanding. So when you guys are looking at your throw, like let's say Alex maybe, now Alex, you have a good understanding, but maybe you watch your throw and you're like, I could be more explosive. What are 2 exercises that you could do to be more explosive?
Cleans and jumps.
Cleans and jumps, right there. Clean more, so every time if we could clean twice a week, okay, minimum of 5 to 6 sets each day. So that means 10 to 12 sets a week, okay? And let's say he does hurdle hops, box jumps, and skips. Right there, if Alex can think about, I need to get more explosive, I need to clean more, I need to set up my jumps more, and then I can start to plan this out. So not only do you get stronger, you're going to get more explosive, and I can execute how many throws a week are you going to be throwing?
100 to 120.
100 to 120, perfect. That's good. Now, how many minutes of mobility do you think that you would need on a daily basis if we're thinking back and we're going, okay, we're squatting or bench pressing twice a week, we're cleaning twice a week, we're throwing 4 days a week. How many minutes of mobility do you think you would need? Yeah, 10 to 20 minutes every single day. Okay, and then you can have that technical study. So give me, Amira, give me the 4 things that we covered so far.
Strength, mobility, technique, and explosiveness.
Perfect. Okay, give me 2 things from explosiveness.
We can do cleans and jumps to work on it.
How many days a week do you think how many sets a week do you think you could clean?
Probably like a week. Yeah, probably like 2 or 3.
Yep, 2 or 3. That's perfect. I'm trying to remember. Okay, I've gone through all of this stuff. So let's go. Claire, how many days a week should you, or what would be something that you could work on to improve your strength? Squats. Yeah, let's say squats, bench, and I would lump cleans in there, but then I would put cleans over to the explosiveness side, yeah. Okay, before we go into the last part, the 5th part, okay, how many of you lift in a week right now? Okay, how many of you guys want a PR by 10 feet? Okay, yeah, everybody's, you want to throw 80 feet? Yeah. So everybody wants to throw, or everybody wants to PR by 10 feet. How many of you guys are lifting 4 days a week? Are you all lifting 4 days a week? Because it's, okay. Olivia, why aren't you lifting more than 4 days a week? Or why aren't you lifting 4 days a week? Not. So if we think about this, right, and we go, all right, I got 2 to 3 years, okay, or using, Garrett. If I'm using Garrett as an example, okay, he has 2 years left of college, maybe 3 technically now, yeah. So he's got 3 years left, okay. So some of the big factors with somebody like Garrett is that he has to make sure he gets stronger, okay. So he's got to be able to increase his back squat by a minimum of like 50 pounds, ideally. I don't even know what you squat, but I'm assuming this, judging you. He's got to be able to clean somewhere around 330 in my mind. I have no idea what he cleans right now. He's got to be benching at least 400, okay? So he has to take the step back and say, okay, I got 3 years to do that. What's your body weight right now, like 230? Okay, so he's 220. If over the next 3 years, he gains 10 pounds a year, okay, so that's when we're going to start to get into our recovery here. This is the last component. He's got to plan out minimum 4 days a week, minimum 5 days a week of mobility, minimum 4 to 5 days a week of throwing, minimum 60 minutes a week of technique analysis, and then a minimum of how many minutes a day, Ryan, of mobility work? 20. Yeah, 10 to 20. I think 10 minutes is enough where it's like you will buy into it and you'll feel it, and then all of a sudden you'll be like, all right, if 10 minutes is helping me, I'll do 20. Okay, now if we get into the recovery component, this is where I think it all gets tied together, and this is where for you it's going to be huge, is if we're looking at recovery, what are 2 areas, Lincoln, that would help your recovery? Stretching, yes. Nutrition, perfect. And one other thing. I mean, there's more than one, but like one main thing that you do every night. Yes. Okay, so sleep and your nutrition. Okay, so let's pretend 220 pounds, we got to get you to 260. Okay? If we can start off with this thought process, and this is going to be a takeaway nutrition-wise, at 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. How many grams, Bonnie, how many grams, if he wants to weigh 260, how many grams of protein, if he's having 1 gram per pound of body weight, and he wants to weigh 260, how many grams of protein should he have a day? It's not a trick question either. No, if he wants to weigh 260, and he has to have 1 gram per every pound. 260. Yes. I know I'm pitching it like a trick question. So if we're having 260 grams of protein every single day, so that's a good starting point for all of you guys. Now, I don't know with Liana and with Michael, I'm not sure how dialed in their protein intake is. Michael probably is pretty good. Yeah, Michael would be pretty good. Yeah. So if we look at this and we said, okay, from a nutritional perspective, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, how many hours of sleep should you be getting? 8 to 10, perfect. Now, if we're getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep, I'm gonna, if we go 8 to 10 hours of sleep, okay, every single night, what time should you put your phone down, Christian? Let's pretend that you go to bed at 10 o'clock. Perfect, that's great. Do you actually do that? No way. You're like, oh, no. But okay, so here's the thing. Now, if we're going to bed at 10 and we're getting 8 hours of sleep, what time are we waking up?
You go to bed at 10, you wake up at 6.
Okay, so we go to bed and you wake up at 6, that's 8 hours. You don't need to wake up at 6 all the time. Let's wake up at 7. How many hours is that then? 9. But we have to go to bed at 10. We can't go to bed at 1:30. Okay, we've got to get off our cell phones by 9:15 and 9:30 so we're not doom scrolling T. Yeah. So the big factors here, if we're looking at recovery, to really compile everything together, okay, if we're looking at technique, strength, explosiveness, we want mobility, and then finally recovery, all of the recovery is like the glue that brings every single thing together. So Jules, how much protein should you be having on a daily basis? Just how many grams of protein per pound of body weight? 200 grams. Okay, so that's for you, but 1 gram per pound. Yeah. 1 gram per pound. And you can start there, 1 gram per pound, and you can go a little lighter, you can go a little heavier, whatever you want. That depends on how you feel. You can play that game off of there. If we're getting, again, how many hours of sleep? At least 8, okay? And one thing that does piss me off with my own son is that he will be on his phone, okay, and we have to put 9 different time limits on it because he figures out the password and then does it and then acts like he didn't figure out the password and then lies to us about it. So then we have to like pretend that he doesn't know that we know and all the runaround. But if he would put his phone down by 9:30 and be in bed by 10, he'd be less of an asshole the first thing in the morning, and he'd be recovering a little bit better. So the thing is with all of these aspects is that for you guys to add that 10 feet, okay, or for you to add, in Michael's case of the discus, 45 feet, in Liana's case of the shot, 10 feet, right? To do this, you have to just sit there and say, okay, if I want to throw 10 feet further, Karis, what's your PR right now?
6'8".
Huh?
36.
So she throws 36.8. How old are you?
15.
So you're going to 11th or 10th? So she's going into 11th grade. So for her to throw, let's pretend 46 feet, and hopefully this happens. 2 years from today, if she goes and says, I'm going to lift 4 days a week, I'm going to work on my cleans twice a week, I'm going to do my jumps once a week with the jumps, twice a week with the cleans, I'm going to lift legs and all these things 4 days a week. I'm going to throw how many throws a week? 120, let's say. How many hours or how many minutes a week of just watching video? 10 minutes a day, perfect. How much mobility are you going to do?
Like 20 minutes a day.
20 minutes a day. And if Karis does this for 2 years straight, and she does and follows through with the mobility, she follows through with the sleep, she follows through with her recovery with protein, and she does hold herself accountable to get these reps done, she's very, very likely going to throw at least 45 feet. Like I can almost guarantee that based, I've seen you throw, so I know what, you have a motor, you can do that. So the big factor is now looking back and saying, and this is the ultimate question for everybody, is like, how far do you want to throw? Like, where do you see yourself at the end of your career? What does that distance look like? What's the distance look like at the end of high school? Okay, so if you can think about that, and what I would challenge you on right now is that write that distance down and tell yourself, okay, Peyton wants to throw 47. I'm making up your goal here. 47 feet. So she's got to work backwards, and your PR is 41, and say, okay, I want to throw 40. She's got 6 feet to make up. What can she do? How many days, are you lifting 4 days a week? Are you?
Yeah.
Are you throwing how many days a week?
3 to 4.
3 to 4. Okay, how many hours of technique work?
It depends, but like hours, like per week.
Yeah.
Like 4 if that like.
Okay. So where do you see, if you're looking at this equation where we've got strength, explosiveness, technique, mobility, where do you see the low-hanging fruit for yourself, where you can make good gains?
Probably in mobility. I feel like.
Okay, mobility, and that's going to help you with recovery.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the big thing over the next year is continuing to do what you're doing, improve the mobility, make sure that you're recovering well, get to bed on time, and then that's going to set you up for that next day so that then you can recover, go to practice, and you're in a good headspace. Does all this make sense, Brandon? So the big factor now is taking that step back. Okay, you take the step back, you say, okay, these are the 5 areas that we've got to focus on. Okay, you look at those 5 areas and you think through, I throw this far, 40 feet right now, I want to throw 50 feet, or I want to throw 55 feet, whatever that goal is, and you take that goal, write that down, put it on your wall, work backwards from that point, and look through these 5 different areas. Okay, and then once you do that, you can build out that training and work towards that monster throw. And that's the one thing with Coach Weeks here is that we do at Throws U, is that Sam will build out training for you guys, even guys online, and he'll take somebody like Liana or like the Josh Sanderegger kid and goes and gets a kid who, is he the kid in Idaho? Okay, so he's got a kid in Idaho who builds out this whole recipe for him, okay, and he takes this kid who's now going to be in 11th grade and he's thrown 59-10 or 59-2. And so that's the whole big thing here is that all of this stuff's relatively easy, but you also need somebody to help you be accountable with it as well. So think through that lens. Is like if you guys do want to do something like that and you want to take the training to the next level, you can talk to Weeks or Trevor or myself, and that's how you guys can go from throwing 40 feet to 55 or going from 30 feet to 40 plus, going from 41 to 47, going from, using Michael as the example, 125, 130 to 176 feet. But you've got to be able to check all the different boxes around those 5 areas, okay? Does anybody have any questions? You don't have any questions?
No, you went over everything.
Okay. And really, truly, that's what all of this just comes back to, is those 5 areas. So let's go do one final recap. Who wants to get put under pressure first? What's one of the 5 key areas? Is it Carter? Yeah. Okay, Carter, what's one of the 5 key areas?
Technique.
Technique. Perfect. How many days a week should you be throwing?
About like 4.
4. How many throws?
Like 120.
120 is a good baseline. And that's really, go out, take 25 to 30 throws 4 times a week. That's not that much time. Okay, now what's the next one, Charlie? Give me one of the next 5.
Like big 5.
Yeah.
Technique. Wait, we need this.
He said technique.
Mobility.
Mobility, good. How many days a week could you stretch?
5 days a week.
And how long each time?
20
20 minutes.
minutes.
Monet, give me one of the 5. Strength, perfect. Give me one exercise. How many days a week should you lift? 3 to 5, perfect. Malia, give me an exercise. Give me another one of the pillars.
Another one of the pillars.
Yeah, so you have strength, you have mobility, you have technique.
Recovery.
Recovery is one. Okay, how many grams of protein should you have a day?
Depending on the weight that you want to be.
And yeah, 1 gram per
Per pound.
1 gram per pound of body weight. Perfect. And then give me, Abram, what's the 5th one?
What's that last?
So we said strength, recovery, technique, and mobility.
I'm blanking.
Explosiveness. So like cleans, jumps. How many days a week can you clean?
Like 1, 2.
Yeah, let's say twice a week. Twice a week I would recommend. So those are the 5 big areas, and those are the 5 takeaways that you guys can do, and just sit back and remember, write down how far you want to throw, okay? And then review that consistently to hold yourself accountable, okay? Any further questions? We are going to give you guys now an assessment. So I don't know if Trevor has it done yet, but what we're going to go through is we have assessments that we've done for the whole camp. Okay, so in the assessments, there's 4 areas because we can't assess your recovery. We don't know how often you're sleeping or what your nutrition is. But we do know your technique, we know your strength, we know your mobility, we know your explosiveness. We tested everything. So hang on, he's going to give you at the end of the camp, we're going to go through and hand these out. Also, okay, we're going to hand them out now. The test scores are hard. Like, we are going to grade you very hard. Okay, we're not going to rub your back and tell you, oh, you're doing a good job, even though you're only lifting once a week. Like, you will be like, okay, I can make improvements. I can get better. I can squat more. I can, Alex, I don't know. Your squat, apparently, from what I've heard, is pretty good, but you can clean more. So it's like you're going to get that grading that you can then take to try and make that next step.
So I wanted to ask, you talked about putting on that extra weight to help build that strength, right? How would you make sure you're maximizing the strength you have at your body weight before you're thinking, okay, now I need to go up to the next weight?
Okay, so you're asking, how can I maximize the strength that I have right now at this body weight before I make weight gains to go up. I would use something simple like a bench press of like, if I have my bench right now is at like 1.4 to 1.5 times my body weight, then I want to go up. If I'm squatting like 220, like body weight right now, and you're squatting 450, you could gain weight now. Now, like, and I would even argue a little bit earlier, but now you can start to gain weight. I would even look at the cleans, I'd say like 1.4 to 1.5 times body weight. Use those as gauges. They're not like set in stone, but it's a guideline that you can then use like, okay, I could gain another 10 pounds. Can I take the next 2 to 3 months to gain 10 pounds? Okay, and I'm gonna do that by adding a surplus of carbs before I train so I feel really good right before I train. And that's how I would go about figuring that out. Yeah, I would go through carbs, I would add carbs and protein. I would increase the protein to the body weight that you would wanna be. And then I would also say like, hey, when I weigh 240, I wanna make sure I can back squat 500. I wanna make sure that I can clean, 330 to 350. I wanna make sure that I can bench over 4 consistently. That's a good question. Anybody else? Ryan. Who can you watch for your technique? Crowds. There we go. Good. And I think you can fix just really the middle of the circle for you specifically. Does anybody else have questions over here? Eli. Any questions? Shit. Justice. Anybody else? Jules, Kaylee, and Maya, you guys get to ask. Jules.
How do you get better at doing like cleans and snatches? Can you progressively overload something like that? Yes, 100%. So Jules is asking, how do you get better at cleans and snatches? Step one, just do more. Like every day you go in and you could just do the sequences that we gave you with the snatch and with the cleans as like a warm up. Just go through as a warm up with that. And then I would say even with the cleans or the snatches, it's like, okay, if I do this for 3 days a week, on day 2 and on day 3, I want to add like 5 pounds on each side and see how I feel. And if I feel stable and I'm executing it with good movement, then I'll add a little bit more weight. That's how I would go about doing that. Kaylee. Maya. Questions?
Like when we're like lifting, should we lift for like weight, like do like less reps and more weight, or do it for like reps?
So that's a really good question. Kaylee's asking if she should lift more weight, less reps. Answer is yes, or less weight, more reps. The answer is also yes. And I would just say it really depends on the time of year. Honestly, that's where having somebody like Sam with Coach Weeks comes into play. Because basically, we set it up so that you would say, okay, in the fall, you might do more volume, more reps, and maybe you're training like 6 sets of 6 on a back squat, and that's a hard workout. Like that's brutal, which is also why you got to have your mobility in line so you recover well and your sleep is in line. And we might do that through the fall, but then come January or February when you have the indoor season, maybe you're doing 4 doubles and like a drop set of 5 or something like that, or a speed set after that. So it would be dependent upon the time of year, but the rule of thumb is like further out, maybe a little bit higher reps, 6 to 8 reps, closer to the peak. You maybe go heavy earlier in the week or lighter later in the week so that you feel good coming into your competition. But that's a really good question. My answer is always both. I think another rule of thumb is lift heavy with your strength movements, do high reps with your accessories. But that's good. Jory, any questions? Peyton, any questions? Anybody else? Karis, what are you going to do for the next 2 years?
I'm gonna stick to that routine of like strength, mobility, recovery, and lifting like 3 to 5 days a week, and throwing 3 to 5 days a week.
What are you going to do when it's really cold out and you don't want to go outside to throw?
Lift inside and throw inside.
Yeah, there we go. And even just, you can watch technique videos, do all that stuff. Okay, that was great. Good job, guys, and good job paying attention. We're going to hand out the
Take a group photo first and then hand them out.
Okay, so we're going to get the group photo, then we're going to get we're going to do the group photo, then we're going to hand out the assessments, and then we'll go out to the circles and to the weight room. Good job.